Greyscale and venture capitalist firms are betting big on this crypto AI project. And what is that project? I can hear you asking. Well, that's exactly what we're going to be getting into in this video. We are, of course, going to show you how we know that Greyscale and these venture capitalist firms are betting big on this AI project. We're going to explain what the AI project is and what a kind of exciting prospect it is. And then we'll be diving over to some price charts. Tau, Bittensor, there we go. We've just gone and announced it, is on the cusp of breaking out into new all-time highs. And I do think this is the start of what is going to be a long, bullish journey for this cryptocurrency project. And of course, I will explain why I think this project is going to do very well. I am very zealous. My largest position to date is an AI project. It's just not this one, but it's very much trying to do a similar thing. Of course, that is the artificial superintelligence project. I'm very zealous on crypto AI projects, crypto deepin projects, and the kind of decentralization of how the world works today, which is digitally, and the continuation of that in much the same way that Bitcoin sought to bring a digital, decentralized money to the world. We can do that with many other things, and that's certainly what Bittensor is going to do. And I will explain all of that to you guys as we progress. But first of all, let us just start off by why we're highlighting and making a video on this project specifically. It's because you have the likes of Greyscale, which are a leader in regards to sort of crypto products, betting massively on this project. You can see this is their decentralized AI fund. And here we have the holding allocation. There are 5 tokens involved in this. Tau, Bittensor, was at the time of this number 1. We'll look at it today. Then you've got Near. Near has very heavily pivoted into AI. And you could argue has always been an AI project. You've got the likes of Filecoin, Render, and the Graph. These are the 5 projects they hold. And the largest holding here is, of course, Bittensor. Now, side note, just to talk about Greyscale's products more broadly, we've had a lot of success in regards to predicting Greyscale's trust's price, whether that be the Bitcoin sort of trust that we got very right up until the point there was an ETF, whether it be the Ethereum trust, which we got very right up until the point they had the ETF. We're also betting on the likes of their digital large cap fund, which recently just filed to be converted into an ETF. And I would wager that once we get further regulatory approval on the space, they will look to convert their decentralized AI funds, which is here, into an ETF. And this is going to unlock a lot of capital. And certainly the likes of Tau and some of the projects on here are going to capture a large amount of it, certainly as that demand increases. And if we take a look at today's holdings, so let's just highlight the fact that back in July, Tau was only 2.9% of Greyscale Digital Large Cap Fund. As of the time, this was on the 15th October, it sat at 31.7%. So a big increase, a big vote of confidence for Tau. Today, there's been a bit of a rebalancing. You can see actually it is Near that has bumped up slightly, and Tau has gone down slightly as they've sort of rebalanced this fund. But this is a huge vote of confidence. You could perhaps argue that this is weighted on market cap slightly. However, really what I'm highlighting here is that institutions like the likes of Greyscale, they listen to where the demand's coming and ultimately offer products that they think are going to be successful. And the fact that they're highlighting Bittensor, I think, is something to be paid attention to. Also, this was an interesting one from DeFi Mochi. Unfamiliar with this account, 92,000 followers. Lots of people on Twitter that I've never heard of that have hundreds of thousands of followers. Nothing really to be said on that. But this is an insider post, apparently. Polychain, DCG, and DAO5 hold at least $350 million worth of Tau tokens, according to Blockbeat. This might have adjusted somewhat. It might have gone up slightly. This obviously came out in April. What was the price in April for Tau? Let's put it on a daily because it sort of lengthens the chart out a little bit. So we've got September, August, June, So where are we? April. So the price, they probably actually hold more in regards to this, but there is clearly institutional demand here. And the fact that Greyscale have this weighted as their largest investment is certainly something of interest. We're going to come on to the price in just a second. So some of you may be wondering, okay, we can see that there's clearly in regards to venture capitalist firms that are interested in the cryptocurrency space, which is still a very small market, and Greyscale, the largest sort of crypto fund, and still in terms of volume, often ETF offerer. There's obviously this interest in Tau, Bittensor. What the hell is it? And we are a massive believer that distributed ledgers have a far broader application than just money. But money was a great one. And what Satoshi did was he figured out how to coordinate and correlate a decentralized network and incentivize participants in a decentralized network to operate a monetary system as he intended it. I think Bitcoin plays more of a role of a store of value system. We can go into the sort of weeds of that. But what he did was he implemented a distributed ledger in regards to creating a marketplace for compute. Bitcoin is the original DPIN network. So miners use their hardware to maintain the Bitcoin network and ultimately get rewarded in the Bitcoin token as a result of it. Now, you can take that model, and this is what Bittensor has done, and you can apply it to really any field. So let's say we wanted to create a very interesting concept here, and this is why I clown the Bitcoin maximalists for being so small-minded. They're very right on Bitcoin's uniqueness. So uniqueness makes me skeptical on it, but they're very small-minded in the sense that they don't quite realize that you can apply a distributed ledger to anything. An example before we get on to Bittensor and what they're doing with their distributed ledger. There's lots of cars out there. Maybe we want to create a network where we overlay a distributed ledger, or we embed a distributed ledger, and we say, okay, this is the car token, and every time somebody wants a lift, you provide that lift with your hardware, your car, and we pay you in the card. You could incentivize a decentralized car service or sharing service or something like this, or Uber, essentially, through a distributed ledger. So Bitcoin does that. It uses hardware in the form of computer to facilitate a sort of decentralized money. You could do that with something like cars. You could do that with really anything. You could do that with land. You could come up with a decentralized land usage use case where instead of hardware, it's actually something like land. Although you would need a hardware element there, I guess, to sort of maintain the ledger. But what Bittensor has done, we're maybe confusing people here, is instead of doing the Bitcoin use case where they've given this decentralized ledger to essentially incentivize people to run the network and reward them for doing so, Bittensor said, okay, let's do that with the use case of AI. Let's create a decentralized AI network where people put forward their AI models and they are the equivalent, or their AI, and they're the equivalent of the Bitcoin miners, and they get rewarded in the Tau token. And anybody, instead of now having to go to Google, Microsoft, Meta, whoever it may be, to access this AI, no longer needs to do that. They can go to their competitor, and Bittensor very much is a competitor, decentralized competitor that nobody owns, and essentially unlock the AI that's offered there. And those people offering that AI get rewarded in the Tau token the same way the people that mining the Bitcoin network get rewarded in the Bitcoin token. This is a very interesting paradigm, and distributed ledgers are going to shock the world. And with a use case as large as AI, that's a very bullish narrative, certainly if it's successful and we see the usage and adoption of it. Not to mention the kind of properties that it brings to the table, like Bitcoin does in regards to moving away from these kind of monopolized systems that ultimately, in many cases, are used against you. So if you think about Bitcoin said, F you to the central bank, Bittensor is kind of saying that to your Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and Meta platforms, and saying, look, we're coming up with our own way to incentivize individuals in a very free market fashion to partake in this kind of AI marketplace and give and reward them with the Tau token for doing so. And in doing that, provide people an alternative to the system, which for me is absolutely genius. And that's the kind of concept behind Bittensor. And you can see clearly that institutions are betting on this rather heavily, certainly the ones that are interested in the cryptocurrency space, more so than other AI products. This is the Bittensor chart. This is the longest one I can find for it, unfortunately, guys. It's not listed on a great deal. It's not even on Coinbase yet. Binance is, of course, the largest exchange. It's listed on crypto.com. A little bit of a smaller chart there. But this is on the cusp of breaking out into new all-time highs, and you just ran into resistance. It's not going to be long before you push above it. You know, this is your sort of phase one base, which is how we like to break the markets down into 4 phases. Clear breakout here on volume. I mean, you're not even... whereas a lot of the cryptocurrency space has sort of been not doing too well. Bittensor's, really sort of shot up since September. It's gone, a couple of 100% up. It could have some Greyscale involvement. It might not, certainly with them sort of reallocating. But this is on a path that I think is going to be nothing short of an awesome one. And it's for the reasons that we spoke about, what it fundamentally does. And we can clearly see that institutions are betting it. So we thought this was an interesting video to share with you guys, because what we have is we have larger insider money betting on an AI project that is really fundamentally doing something very interesting. And we want to bring that to all of your attention. So from a price point of view, we don't really have too much to get into. There's no sort of technical patterns there for us just yet, but hopefully we do set some up on our journey to the upside, and we can give you some sort of price guide. But for now, we're just admirers of the project, and we think it's a huge amount of confidence. It's likes of Greyscale and some of the larger VCs in the space are betting on this token in a big way. That's it from me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to love and leave you on that note. If you've enjoyed the content, like us, appreciate it. So as a comment. I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next.